Good morning. Good morning. I don't have any music this morning. Maybe because it is Independence Day. Thought I'd do a little something different today. No music and no flowers. I gotta get back on the flowers though. The flowers have been a personal ritual of mine that I've appreciated. So I gotta get the flowers back. Good morning. Good morning. No music this morning. Just me, Pastor Lisette, Restoration Fellowship. I know that it's July 4th, 4th of July, and it is early on this Tuesday morning. I thought about not even doing Talk About a Tuesday, but I just want to come on this morning and first say good morning. I hope y'all had a good week. I hope y'all are having a good holiday weekend. I hope you're staying cool. I hope you're doing things that bring you joy, that restore you, that renew your spirit. I hope that you are getting a chance to enjoy a day off, or at least a day of rest or a day of time with friends and family. Good morning, Will. Good morning. I'm not going to be with us long because I know for some of us, we get to sleep in today, and for others of us, we get to relax a little bit before cookouts and parties. And I know I'm going to a fish fry pool party today. We say thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah for fish fries and for friends to invite you over. But hopefully you find a cookout and or a good movie or something today that helps you to feel free. And I really just came on this morning to reflect a little bit on freedom. Today is the 4th of July, Independence Day, the day historically that this country fought for its independence, its freedom from the powers that be, and so, or the powers that was, so that they could become their own entity in their own country. The irony of July 4th of 1776 is that while those persons were fighting for the right to be and to govern themselves, to make choices for themselves, to not be controlled by others or have their lives dictated by another entity far, far away. They were enslaving persons that looked like me. They were enslaving individuals and making sure that those freedoms were not allowed or experienced. In fact, that they could be good morning, Evangelist Farmer, good morning, Cheesy. In fact, that the people who fought so very hard to forge and form the United States of America, to proclaim its freedom at that time, actually were actively involved in ensuring that a segment of the population, based on their race, based on where they came from, based on theological groundings, that they were inferior. They decided, good morning, Art. They decided that that group of people whose skin was touched by the sun, that those people would be enslaved. And so today, 4th of July, for many persons, is a day to celebrate the patriotism of the United States of America. It's a day for us to celebrate independence, and we're grateful for all the ways that we do experience freedom. But let us not forget that we live in a country with historical contradictions, and that those political and historical contradictions impact our personal and our spiritual, our emotional, mental well-being. And so I just want you to think about freedom today. Think about freedom in all of its many facets. I'm asking you and I'm inviting you to talk about freedom because I'm sure if I asked you what your definition of freedom is, it would indeed be different than mine. Just because freedom is just that way. We're grateful to Webster and all of the wonderful people at Webster who have sought to put together a solid definition of freedom. And it includes being, having the right to act and to be as you decide, and being able to break free from tyrannical acts from people who are controlling you and being in control of you. It is a political state to break free from government authorities. And so what I'm encouraging you to do today is recognize that your freedom is both personal, it is political, it is social, and it is spiritual. Because we have Galatians in Galatians chapter 5, where Paul would write to that church and say that you have this freedom to do as you will, but it is the Spirit of God. It is the Spirit that you have that gives you this freedom to do what is right, to do what it means to live out the law, the greatest commandment, which is to love the Lord your God with all of your heart, your mind, your soul, and your strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself. So freedom is the ability to love yourself, to love your neighbor, to do it in right ways and just ways, right? But we also recognize that in living out our freedoms, in fighting for our right to be at our identity intersection, to be LGBTQ, to be straight, to be Southern, to be Northern, to be Black, to be white, to be Latinx, to be Asian, to be rich, to be poor, to be middle class, working class, and to live in a country where we know that we can move around in our own way, to have the right to get a job and not be fired from it because of our gender identity or sexual orientation or because of our religious beliefs. We have the freedom to love who we believe God has called us to love and who we have tried out ourselves and wanted to love them. We believe that there is the freedom for people who have different faiths to practice those faiths here in the United States. So you see, freedom, beloved, is complicated and multifaceted. And so for Talk About It Tuesday today, I'm asking you to think about freedom. I'm asking you to think about, number one, what do you need to do to be free? What do you need to do to be free? Whose shadow do you need to come out of? What negative stories do you need to rewrite? What community of accountability do you need to be connected to so that you can be free, so that you have the right and the space and the opportunity to be your full, authentic self, to live into the fullness of your dreams, your hopes, and your aspirations? So what does it mean to be free in your personhood? To live authentically and boldly without apology. And then what does it mean to be free politically? We know that we live in a society and in a city of Richmond, Virginia, where there are people who cannot walk the streets freely without being harassed. We know that there are people who are getting fired from their jobs because of their gender identity. What does freedom really look like from a political space? How can we be free if we know that at any moment our police in connection with ICE can raid communities where they think people who may not be documented citizens are? How do we protect those who are in this country who are just trying to live their life, who are trying to build a life for themselves? So what does freedom look like? What does that look like? What does it mean to be free? And then what is your responsibility in freedom? Because remember, I like saying, and I'm asking you to remember, freedom ain't free. Freedom takes work. So do your work to be your fabulous, amazing self. Do your work to be in the world in the ways that God has called you to be. Do your work to align with political organizations, with activist organizations, with justice organizations, to work for our collective freedom. Because I believe that just as Jesus said in John chapter 8, verse 32, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. The truth of who you are shall break you free from the lines and from the stories and from the narratives that others have put upon you. The truth shall set you free when you recognize that there are people in power who are seeking to advance a political agenda that does not include all of us at the table, does not include our brown and black and brown brothers and sisters, did not include our sisters who are working hard, did not include our brothers who are doing what is right, did not include our Muslim and our Jewish and our Buddhist and our Latinx and our Asian American brothers and sisters. So be willing to do the work to come to the table. And then finally, I will say that in order for you to work for your freedom and for the freedom of others, be willing to sit with God and to be with God and to recognize that freedom is truly being connected to God, to being in deep relationship with God. And whatever God is to you, whoever God is to you, the divine, the creator, the universe, the light, that you have a commitment to living out your purpose in that freedom. And so enjoy your Independence Day. Recognize that your freedom is multifaceted and that you, when you are free, you have I would say, strongly say, you have the obligation to free others. But the way that works is that free people free people. And so sometimes you got to get your own freedom first. And that's not always easy. But once you do it and you see that you're in a place where you can walk down the street with your head held high and all of your amazing identities, intersectionality, and you know that what is possible, you know the tears that you've cried, you know the laughter that you've laughed, you know the people that have affirmed you and reminded you of who you are. You know that what is possible for you personally, what has been possible for you spiritually, is possible for others. And so I'm hoping that you go forth today talking about freedom, talking about it in real and relevant ways. And I'm grateful for this opportunity to reflect on freedom today, this July 4th, Independence Day. Now, I'm Pastor Lisette of Restoration Fellowship, RVA. We are a church daring to do church differently, and we invite you to worship with us on Sundays at 3 p.m. We worship right now at the Diversity Richmond, which is our local community center at 1407 Sherwood Avenue. We invite you to come and be free with us. We invite you to work toward your freedom and our collective freedom together as we strive to show God's love, to share in ministry, and to restore hope to our community and to each other. Then we have a prayer call on Thursday evenings. It's called The Call because we come together collectively in community because we believe that freedom work cannot be done in isolation. It needs to be done in community. And so we create space for us to pray. We create space for us to be together. And then I would say that I'm here Tuesday mornings. Hey, Chanson, how you doing, classmate, Reverend? I am here on Tuesday mornings at 8 a.m. For Talk About It Tuesday, where I just share my heart with you all, and in the hopes that it inspires you and it reminds you of the amazing person that you are, the ways that God has called you to show up in the world. And so I'm grateful that you joined me today, and I'm grateful that you may be watching this recorded video, whether you joined me live or you're watching it recorded. We're grateful for your presence, and we look forward to next week. So go forth today, I would say, in my good churchy pastoral voice, and say, live free, be free, and be willing to work with others for our collective freedom. For there is still much work to do. And know that you are called and you are loved and you are created for a purpose. I'm Pastor Lisette of Restoration Fellowship, and I hope you have an amazing 4th of July. Bye.